Mobility has always been more than movement. It has fueled freedom, forged connections, powered commerce, and driven progress throughout history. Moving Minds is a series about the people behind the systems, the visionaries, experts, and builders shaping the future of how we move. These are voices that often remain within specialist circles, yet their decisions quietly shape the systems we all depend on. Our mission is simple: to bring their stories, insights, and experiences to the wider mobility industry, giving stage to the thinking and decisions that will define the future of mobility.
Welcome back to Moving Minds, the series where we explore the people whose ideas, leadership, and courage are reshaping the future of mobility. Today's guest is someone whose story is both exceptional and quietly transformative. Her name is Elisa Romano. Elisa has built her career in some of the most demanding and exhilarating corners of the mobility world. Places where engineering excellence, precision, and emotional design come together to create products that inspire millions. Along the way, she chose a path that very few take and even fewer women pursue: cybersecurity leadership at the highest level. Her journey is one defined not just by technical mastery, but by resilience, curiosity, and the courage to step into arenas where there were no woman before her, most of the time. In an industry where the stakes are high and the pace of change is relentless, Elisa has consistently shown what it means to lead with clarity, conviction, and vision. Today, we'll talk about that journey, the pivotal moments that shaped her, the lessons learned while protecting some of mobility's most iconic and emotionally charged innovations, and what it takes to build trust and security in a world that is becoming more and more connected every day. Her story is a reminder that leadership in cybersecurity is not only about defending technology, but about inspiring people, opening doors, and amplifying voices that the industry needs far more of. Elisa, it's an honor to have you. Welcome to Moving Minds.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe. It is a real honor to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. I will be glad to have this conversation with you and hope to reach your target.
Thank you. Thank you so much again for participating. So let's jump into the questions that I have for my guests. And in particular, we'll look at the first part into your origins or the purpose that made you a leader in security. So, what was it first that drew you into the world of automotive or mobility? And how did you end up in the current role you are?
Yes, my journey in automotive starts when I was a child because my family is very, very linked and passionate to the automotive sector. So when I was a child, for me, it's common to read a newspaper, an Italian newspaper that is called Quattro Ruote. So since I was a child, I started to love cars and the automotive sector. In addition, I'm from Bologna. Ducati Motor Holding is one of the most important enterprise here in Bologna. So for myself, when a lot of years ago I joined Ducati, it's a sort of of realizing a dream because Ducati is an institution for Italian people.
Not only for Italian people, I would say it's iconic everywhere. Yeah, thanks for sharing the origin. So from childhood on, and by the way, I obviously as an Italian know Quattro Ruote quite well. It's the must read for anyone who is passionate in automotive and mobility. But looking at a little bit more the purpose that you have, what is it about your work that gives you a sense of purpose or lasting impact?
Yes, of course. My role has completely changed in the last years. I found purpose in shaping solution that improve how people can manage data, of course, and how the company can interact between technology and compliance. Because due to my role, you have to keep a balance between to protect the now on the company, because of course I'm responsible for information and cybersecurity, but from another side you have to speed and to support the business. So the purpose that I have, that I put every day in my daily business is to find this kind of balance, to protect the company while enhancing the focus on the targets.
Yeah, and is there anything that you can share about your job that most people, maybe even in the industry, would be surprised to learn? As I mentioned in the introduction, in automotive, it's already sometimes rare to see women, in particular in engineering. Now, even in cybersecurity, that's not the standard. Maybe there is something that you want to share with us.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I would like to say that the new generation with whom I daily collaborate are absolutely open about the fact that I'm a woman. Is something this kind of surprising in having a woman as she's in the automotive sector is something from my point of view more linked to the past.
Mhm.
Now we are completely changed. The new generation absolutely managing this kind of role by a woman, by a man without any kind of problems. Of course, what is fundamental for a kind of job like mine is to have a very disciplinary collaboration within the whole company. For covering a role like mine, you should know very well the business and the entity for which you are working for. And of course, the effectiveness is depending, from my point of view, also by the human factor. Despite we are in the technology era and the data are fundamental, or also the human factor, from my point of view, continue to be a fundamental ingredient to be effective. The people must know you. They must trust in you. You should be, of course, reliable. And from another point of view, you also should be available to everybody. It's not a matter about I'm a manager, you cannot disturb me. It's a matter to support the whole company, starting from everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know how passionate you are in general for women in cybersecurity. So I see you're very active in that, and that's really inspiring. Now, in your view, we talked about the challenges maybe that are in the auto industry. Do you think there is something that is misunderstood about the challenges in automotive today that you want to share with us?
Yes, it's not a matter of misunderstood. From my point of view, now it's very difficult to find a balance between heritage and the rapid technological advancement. And from another view, you have always to be compliant with laws. And of course, in automotive sector, the first thing that you have to manage is safety. So the application of security and privacy by design approach is the way that you can follow in order to start each new project by keeping in mind and by properly design the new project in compliance with this fundamental requirement. all the function, as I was saying before, must know this kind of need that the company has. That is not, I would like to repeat, only a matter of compliance, but is a matter of protect and grant that the project that you are following, that you are implementing, is properly drafted since the beginning. Otherwise, the risk is to lose time and money. The misunderstood here is that sometimes in a very old-fashioned way, you do the project and the end, okay, what we have to do in order to be compliant in general is something that now, due to the fact that we trust in technologies, the technologies shall be designed and shaped starting from the beginning in the proper way.
Yeah, I totally understand where you're coming from. Can you add a little bit more color? So, what do you think are some or maybe the most important yet undervalued drivers in our industry today?
Pretty sure that the data are not yet properly managed and as a consequence exploited in a real data driven economy, because one of fundamental, for instance, of the information security is to keep the data confidential, available, and the integrity of data is one of is pillar of information security. Also, in the data-driven economy, the data quality is fundamental in order to take the proper decision and to manage the strategy based on data that must have the quality that is also required, for instance, by the GDPR or the Artificial Intelligence Act, but it's something that is not a matter of compliance, it's a matter of investment, of take decision on a correct database. Otherwise, you risk to lose money and to take wrong decision. And in addition, of course, to be not compliant, so there is also a risk of fines.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is an interesting topic, and some aspects to is a company compliant or is it cyber safe to the extent it can be is a something that is debated in the industry. I think everyone agrees that compliance is not enough and that there are risks in particular for iconic brands. It's way more than just the very challenges of the domain, but it's also the brand reputation. So it's really important to holistically look at cyber and go way beyond the pure tick in the box for compliance.
Absolutely, but I repeat, the data quality is fundamental in data-driven economy. Otherwise, the risk that you are managing incorrect data that they cannot give to the company any kind of value.
And is cybersecurity today a data quality issue? Do you think that it's really coming down to the quality of the data to detect and investigate?
Yes, absolutely, because one of the main pillar of the cybersecurity is to protect the integrity of data and also the availability. Because if I take a decision not on all the data that I have in my databases, but only 50%, of course, my decision can be taken in a wrong way. So cybersecurity is not only a matter to protect system infrastructure, it's also a matter to collect and store data in the proper way in order to be able to use them when you need it.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes it's really hard to have the right data because at the end of the day, um, making the right inferences about what you see, and cybersecurity most of the time is not visible. So as you say, the right data at the right time and the context add to what is really needed in order to make the judgment and the evaluation about the security posture. Now, in terms of your role or the roles that you had in during your career, now, in particular, I'm looking at the last maybe 3 to 5 years. What do you think it will demand from you? How will your role evolve? And in the last 2 or 3 months, there were a lot of reported attacks to OEMs. And do you think that's just a coincidence, or it's something that it's just happening in our industry anyway? It's just that it's more reported right now. And automotive has been always one of the top three attacked industry anyway. What is your perception on that?
My perception is, of course, my role is moving from compliance to unnecessary mandatory collaboration and support to all departments. Here in Europe, we are implementing. In Italy, there is already a law that is absolutely in place, that the NIS2 compliance is rendering the CISO role and the role of people that work in cybersecurity fundamental, also because there is a very strict legislation that is requiring for. This for a company, in particular for a small company, is something absolutely new. So also small companies that were not able to manage this kind of topic will be forced to do it. So for sure, this kind of approach, despite from one end it is mandatory, it's top down, it could be not properly appreciated, but from another hand, I hope that will enhance in general the level of cybersecurity, because it is fundamental for the business continuity. It is not a matter of to be resilient or something like that. It is one of the pillar of a company in order to continue to work daily. Of course, the role of people who are working in this sector became every day more complex, also due to the technologies like artificial intelligence that from one end will support with new feature of the technologies, but from another hand will be a tool for attackers to be more sophisticated and more efficient in their activity. For sure, for the automotive sector, but I assume for all the sector, is a very critical moment. The attacks are enhancing, but I think that it is a matter also of the world that is changing. So now, if you would like to make an attack, is the first way that you can use, and is also sometimes a very economic way to have a target and to reach your scope to block the activities. For the automotive, it is a moment in which you have completely to shift from compliance also to a matter and a topic that is fundamental, and of course to have the skills and the competencies in this sector, since it is very, very moving fast, will be a challenge for sure.
And for you specifically, what do you think will your CISO role change dramatically in the next 3 to 5 years?
I assume that the CISO role will be more important than, of course, in the past. The support of the top management is fundamental. It's not only a matter of budget, but it's also a matter of not only it's also a matter of compliance, because the Italian version of the NIS2 legislation set for a dedicated chapter about the liability of top management. Is something absolutely new in this kind of field. So for the CISO, will be mandatory to be able to speak to the whole company and to support the top management in properly address this kind of new responsibility.
Yeah. Now, in looking specifically at the challenges that you described as a CISO, um, do you have a specific mindset or or habit that you rely on when things get uncertain or overwhelming? I mean, in the role of a CISO, you are going to work, everything is fine, and then from one moment to the other, there could be, sometimes
Happen.
catastrophic things that would happen. How do you specifically, how does Elisa, treat these type of uncertainties or things that are overwhelming?
In general, I'm a calm person, so I try to manage each situation with a very positive approach. Of course, as CISO, we are 24 hours a day under attack because you know that you can say not if, but when, because a sort of problem of attack is something that is can happen every day. So my approach is to be always focused, but it should not become a level of stress that can become you crazy because otherwise you will be in burnout in 2 months. So of course, to be calm, you must know very well your infrastructure. You must know very well which could be the risk, and you also have to be always aware and always you have to rely in a growth mindset because we have to learn something new every day. We are in
Mm,
a real moving sector, so every day something new may happen, a new technology may be implemented, you can receive a new proposal, you can discover a new kind of way to be attacked. So this kind of situation need to be managed in a calm but very focused way, of
mm,
course. This is the aspect of my daily job that I love because I'm always challenged, so it's something that keep me always focused and always happy to learn something new and to manage something new.
mm.
Absolutely.
And how much of that is, a team sport at the end of the day? So, obviously, you as a CISO are leading the cyber response, the cyber activities. But how much is it that you also need to trust your team to work effectively in situations where a concentrated effort as a team needs to happen?
Of course, as I was saying before, the human factor is fundamental. And also, to stay in a team with a positive atmosphere is fundamental to be effective. So, the support of everybody, sorry, is fundamental. You have to trust to your team, but also to the whole company and to ask for their support. Nobody of us can do something alone, and nobody of us is able to manage a complex situation alone. So, of course, as a manager, you have to guide, but as a manager, you have also to trust in your team and in your colleagues, and that you have also to be an example from another
Mm,
point of view. So the human approach, the human factor in cybersecurity remains fundamental. The awareness of the whole company, you can have the most sophisticated technologies, but the human are the most targeted kind of subject for the attacker. So to have the support of all the company to be efficient as a CISO is fundamental. Otherwise, the company is like if you don't have any kind of technology.
yeah. So I hear this a lot in the conversation we have here at Moving Minds. It is, at the end of the day, processes, technology, and, as you said, people. The people really matter in this discipline. Now, going back to your specific career, when you think about the impact that you personally had, no matter if it was a big or is a big or a small one, what are you most proud of?
Proud about the fact that, as I was saying 2 seconds ago, the people are aware about this topic. The people are aware about there is a cybersecurity risk, there are activities to be done, there are policy to be followed, and so on. So the fact that people trust in you and in the work that you are doing daily, of course, I'm speaking about the whole team, is one of the things about what I'm very proud of it. Months ago, I was together with a colleague of mine, and we were discussing how we can support people in managing artificial intelligence. And he said to me, we can do what your team already does in general for cybersecurity. And I was surprised. They say, but what will we have to do? And he said to me, you do a very good job in rendering this kind of topic outside the complexity and render them something that could be managed by everybody, regardless the seniority or regardless the hard skills. So it's something that render me very proud, the fact that we do a good job in render this kind of technical topics feasible for everybody.
Yeah, that's perfect because it leads exactly to my next question. And obviously, I have to ask you about AI. So, how does it impact the role that you have today? And do you think that AI tools changed your perspective on that?
Yes, for sure, because AI completely changed also the way in which we do our job daily. Of course, is a way of support, but is also a way to render the attack more complex and more sophisticated. For instance, the new phishing campaign can be changed. Each email can be different in order to try to not to be blocked. And from another side, yes, you have implemented some technologies, but the way to not to be blocked by technology will change daily. So for sure, from information security and cybersecurity perspective, the AI render more risky the general scenario, but from another side can better support the protection of the company. From another side, since under my responsibility there is also the compliance with the AI regulation, we have to find a balance between also in this case the compliance of the new regulation and the progress, in particular due to the fact that the European legislation is completely different compared to the Chinese and the US one. From this perspective, that there is last week has been published a digital omnibus regulation that is a proposal made by the European Union, which may reduce the complexity of compliance in order to support the business in implementing artificial intelligence technology in their activity, in order also to avoid a problem of competition with other worldwide zone in which the legislation is completely different.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is AI at the end of the day makes it everything faster, to a certain extent cheaper and more accessible for the bad guys. But it also is a tool that the good guys can use, to protect themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm positive about technology. I don't want to say, yeah, it's a nightmare. The AI will destroy us. Absolutely not.
Absolutely good. Now, looking ahead, what is it that most excites you when we look maybe 5 years into the future about automotive in general?
Eh, we will see. We are in a very difficult scenario for the automotive sector. We will see if we will be able to find a balance between heritage and technology. So we will
Mm,
see if the autonomous technologies will support the environment, the safety, maintaining from another way side the also the pleasure of driving, because in something that in particular for a kind of a sector like mine is difficult to imagine how this autonomous driving can be implemented in a kind of product like the one of super sport luxury vehicles. So I'm very excited about to see how this convergence will be applied, and also in my daily, in my future is my goal is to continue to be aware about the progress, but also to find a balance between the progress and protecting the data and supporting the company in maintain the continuity and in acting in a also ethic way. This is
mm.
in my job one of the most challenges to continue to act in an ethic way, because due to the fact that the technology is not always supported by humans, it's difficult also to have a digital ethics.
Yeah. Is there anything that keeps you up at night when you think about the future of automotive and mobility?
But yes, as I was saying, the moment for automotive is obviously very difficult. So I'm curious about how the sector will be able to manage the current scenario. So Mm, I think we don't have to completely abandon the old approach, but from another side, the world is changed. So the automotive sector must follow the future, the technology, the progress. And it's not difficult because it's a revolution, a complete revolution. I
Absolutely.
hope that will be maintained the heritage, and in particular, I was saying that when I was younger, I was reading always Quattro Ruote. The beauty of design of an engine cannot disappear from my point of view. Otherwise, would be a disaster.
Absolutely. And, as Italians love design and the most iconic cars, or most or many of the iconic cars are crafted in Italy, I can clearly hear you. And it's obviously a difference if it's just transportation to get you from A to B, which is also needed. But then there's also the fun of driving, which is the personal experience, which doing it autonomously is not doesn't feel the same. Now we've come to the end, and my last question to you, Elisa, is if you could whisper one tip to every young person, and as I shared, you really much care about talent, the people around you. Um, and if those people, new people, are listening to you and they get inspired by entering this trajectory of working in mobility or even in cybersecurity, what would you give them as a tip, what they should do?
Absolutely, to be passionate, of course, and never stop learning, because regardless the fact that we are currently in a digital and AI revolution, in any case, if you would like to continue to grow and to learn, to be aware, to as someone more famous than me say foolish, because there is a lot of things to be know, a lot of things to be learned, a lot of new skills to be applied. So to be always curious to see what is new, what is next, and also to be very well aware about also what is happening worldwide. We cannot managing our activity in a very small area. The world is everywhere. So the fact to be very, very aware about is happening also from economic and political point of view is fundamental. To be also aware about could be which will be also the risk for a kind of sector like cybersecurity. There could be arising some risk that 6 months ago were not in the radar. So
Yeah,
stay, continue to learn, to learn, to read, to be informed always.
always ahead. And what you're saying is effectively in this industry, it's not going to get boring because
No.
tomorrow may be even more interesting than today. So, Elisa, thank you so much for being on Moving Minds. Your thoughtfulness, the insights that you shared, your vision. This is exactly the kinds of voices we need more in our industry. And I'm really happy to have had you as a guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Giuseppe. It has been a real pleasure to have this conversation with you.
If today's conversation offered a new perspective on what drives mobility, we'd love for you to follow the series, share it, and tell us your thoughts. You'll find more episodes with the people shaping what's next. One question, one insight, one decision at a time. Until next time, keep moving forward.